Hey guys, so we're in the kitchen today. I recently got the Magnolia Table Volume 2 cookbook and I wanted to try out a bunch of recipes, so I figured why not just make it like a dinner party with all of the recipes being from this cookbook. So that's what we're going to be working on today. I do not know how successful I will be with my baby needing me every so often, so we'll see if this is a one-day thing or a two-day thing, but I'm thinking now it may end up being 2 days. But let's get on with the menu and then we'll just start trying out all of these recipes and seeing how they are. For the appetizer, I'm gonna do a prosciutto and brie crostini bruschetta kind of thing. And then for the main meal, we'll have garlic knots and then these chicken puff pastries with bechamel sauce. And for dessert, we'll have a French silk pie. Let's see if we'll be able to make any or all of these things, but let's get started. The first thing I'm gonna start with is the French silk pie, since that does have to stay in the refrigerator for a few hours. So we're gonna get started on that right now. So to start, in a small saucepan, I have together some sugar and eggs, and we're gonna heat this up over low heat. Continue to whisk it until it reaches 160 degrees, or it kind of covers the back of the spoon is what it says. So I'm getting this egg and sugar mixture all ready. I don't know how long this is going to take, so I'll just keep whisking. All right, I have reached 160 degrees. We have that turned off of the heat, so now I'm just going to add the vanilla and then 2 ounces of baking chocolate and let that kind of melt together and become smooth. And then once this is all kind of stirred and melted together, I'm gonna let it cool while I get the rest of the ingredients ready. To the mixing bowl, I'm adding some butter and I'm just gonna cream that until it is light and fluffy, and then we'll be adding the chocolate mixture to it. This has been sitting for 5 minutes now, so I'm going to be adding it to our whipped butter and let that get light and fluffy for another 5 minutes or so. So the chocolate is done. It looks absolutely incredible. I wish I could send some of this to you all right now because it looks so stinking good. So I'm gonna switch bowls on the mixer here and we're gonna whip up some whipped cream, and that's gonna get folded into this chocolate mixture. But let me just, I don't know if you can tell how glossy and amazing that looks. Also, there is just chocolate everywhere in my kitchen right now. It's all over the mixer, it's all over the counters, it's probably all over my face because I definitely just licked that paddle and it was amazing. Anyways, let me whip this up. This is gonna take just around 3 to 4 minutes. We're gonna add some powdered sugar until it forms stiff. So look at this chocolate, would you? Doesn't that look incredible?
Yeah, it looks so good.
Starting to get the color I want it to be. Oh man, this is looking amazing. I'd say we have a good folded, fluffy looking consistency. So now we're gonna pour it into our pre-baked pie shell, which I have here. And then from that point on, we just put it in the fridge and refrigerate it 4 hours or so. This is also something you can make overnight. Make it the night before, which that's always a good dessert option when you're hosting a dinner party and you have a lot of things to cook the day of. It's great if you can get some things like dessert done ahead of time, so it's one less thing to worry about on the day of your event. Voila, we have our pie. I'm gonna cover it up, and then before we serve it, my hands are covered in chocolate. I'm gonna make up some whipped cream and then shave a little bit more of that chocolate on top to really give it a nice presentation. But let's get this in the fridge so we can eat it later tonight. Okay, so we are moving now on to the garlic knots here. The only thing I have to change is that I couldn't find bread flour, so I'm just using all-purpose, which I read is okay to do. It just isn't quite the same chewy texture that you get, which, you know, sacrifices have to be made during quarantine time. So I'm gonna go ahead by putting my water, sugar, and yeast and then letting that stand for 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes. I have my flour and salt in here, so I'm gonna add the bubbled up yeast mixture along with a tablespoon of olive oil, and then we'll let that knead together with the dough hook in for around 5 minutes, I guess, until it starts pulling away from the edges of the bowl. So let's get going.
Yeah, it averages to 83.
That's what we're looking for. It's pulled away from the bowl and it's looking like it's probably just still a little bit sticky, but it looks like we're good to go. So I'm gonna be spraying this bowl and putting it back in and letting it rise for 1.5 hours to 2 hours, depending on how long it takes to double in size. So let's make this into a ball. And because I live in Florida, the garage is the perfect place to prove my bread because it is nice and toasty in there. So I'm gonna go put it up. Next, I'm going to be making the appetizer, which is the prosciutto and brie bruschetta. So I'll show you a picture of that here. It is this one right here. So first I have to make the crostini. She has a recipe for it. Pretty simple. I'm just making the crostini first, and then the great thing about this appetizer is you don't have to bake it after the crostini is baked. You just kind of layer it all on top of each other and it's delicious. So let me get the crostini ready. I have a huge baguette, but I'm not going to be using all of it since it's just the two of us. Okay, so the crostini are out of the oven. They look delicious, and now it's just the layering process. So I have some prosciutto. I'm gonna kind of fold it up. She says do it artfully, which I don't know, like kind of bunching it on top. A slice of brie, and then she calls for peach preserves, but I have apricot in the fridge and I feel like that's probably gonna be just as good. A small little dollop of that is gonna go on top of the brie. I'm just gonna do that process with all of the crostini that I have here. This should be fresh thyme, but I did not feel like going out and spending money on that. So a little bit of dried thyme is just what we're working with today. And our appetizer is now ready. We're now moving on to the chicken puff pastries with bechamel sauce. So the first step, we are gonna be caramelizing some leeks, red onion and green onion in this pan for about 20 minutes or so, and then move on to making the filling. So I just added the chicken and the bacon to the onion mixture to let that get all together. I'm now gonna remove it from the heat, let it set aside while I make the bechamel sauce over in this pot over here. So I already have my butter starting to melt, and I'm getting ready to mix in the flour. I want this to come up to a boil. And again, it'll be nice and thick, and we'll be done with it. And then we're gonna mix some of the bechamel sauce with the chicken and bacon and onion mixture, and then the rest we're gonna serve as a side, as a part of dinner, so you can add a little extra sauce to your pastries. Our dough is ready, so let's take it out. We are going to punch it down and divide it into 4 pieces, and we'll work with one at a time. Then we divide it into 4 again. So we have our 4 pieces. We're now gonna roll these. And then tie them. I've never done this before, but that's kind of the gist I'm getting from it. I'm just gonna brush these with olive oil, cover them again to have a final proof for an hour, and then they'll be ready to bake. Right now I'm just cutting each of my puff pastry sheets into 4, and then I'm gonna be putting the chicken mixture in them, and that's pretty much gonna be it. Alright, so once that's there, a sheet goes on top of each. Use a fork to go around the edges and crimp.
He used to cry alongside her.
That's what I do.
Wah!
Alright, so to recap dinner, everything was amazing. I don't even know, I think my favorite was the pie. Nathan, do you think your favorite was the pie? You can talk, you know.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, so honestly, everything would make again. I hope this kind of convinced you to get the cookbook, because that was just a little bit from it, but I feel excited to do the rest of the stuff out of it because it was really, really good. So, we may finish the pie tonight. It's so good. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching if you stuck around, and I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.